Makes sense.
Very counterproductive.
Makes sense. So you kind of touched on something about Jack Swagger. We're going to move on and talk about his GOAT, and that is Chris Jericho. So reportedly, Chris Jericho's contract with AEW will be up by the end of the year, and there is rumor and speculation that he will be heading back home to WWE. So, what are your thoughts on Jericho potentially returning back to the WWE?
So, I mean, it's kind of in a weird way, like when Punk was released and a couple months went by, and there was the rumors that he was going to show up at Survivor Series. It's one of those things that it's like WWE land, like never say never. But I mean, if you would have asked us this 2 weeks ago before we took off and said, "Yo, do you think Jericho?" Like, think about it. You know, he signed a 3-year contract. He re-signed. Simple math would say that's about to expire. Do you think he'll come back? No, ha ha ha. It would have been a funny listener question. Obviously, there's all the smoke to it now. There's people, you know. Tony Schiavone said something about it in on his podcast. Jericho put a little teaser on social media. There's WWE releasing 2 Vault Jericho matches and posting. I'd love to see it. It's one of those things, kind of like anything with wrestling. I mean, and life. That boy's getting older. I mean, how much more can he go? If his contract's going to expire, what's he going to get? Another 3 years? 2? 1? I mean, 1 final year in WWE, 2 years, go out right. There's a lot of ways I can't see it. I think if, you know, he really, it's not some of his best work, but like he really did work a rigorous schedule over the last year or so. You know, a lot of stuff with the Ring of Honor division. I kind of thought he was going to try to like really build that brand up. I don't know what to think, but obviously as much as I like AEW, I don't know how much more time he has, and I'd love to see him hang it up in a WWE ring.
Yeah, so when it comes to Jericho, it's interesting because he was the first name to attach him, the biggest name to attach himself to AEW in the Ascension besides the Bullet Club guys. So he was the one who gave the cosign. And
well, no, you were so originally right because he was a bigger name than anyone in the Bullet Club.
Yeah, but he was the first person to co-sign them because he was the name. Like outside the Bullet Club class, he was the guy. He was the head. He was the first one to take that jump and co-sign and give the seal of approval. And I think he's overachieved in that because I remember when the first All Out happened, where they crowned the champion, we were debating who's going to be the champion. We said it had to be Jericho because Jericho had to promote the company. He had to be the big name to actually be in the forefront, and that's what he actually did. Now, over the years, since he had that long schedule, that rigorous schedule, as you said, it's the overexposing. There was too much of Jericho, and it's like at a certain point in time, it's like, okay, this is a lot. There's a lot of Jericho here. JAS, I think they had some funny moments, but wasn't a fan. I personally wasn't the biggest fan of the Inner Circle, personally, because if you remember from the Assumption, I said this doesn't match. We were all excited because AEW was new. It was like the second episode of Dynamite where it happened. But I think Jericho, he's did his job when it comes to AEW.
I would argue Inner Circle is probably the I don't know what else it would be. It's probably the great, and obviously 6 years, whatever. It's probably the greatest faction AEW did.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree because a lot of the stables they had, they just disappeared randomly.
Or a lot. They've had a lot of bad injury spots with factions. It's almost one of those things. I'm a huge fan of factions, always have been, and then once in a while. You'll get world's worst creation wrestling fans will complain too much this, but like cool, maybe they're just looking to get one right. But like WWE went like a decade really without factions. I mean I think it would be a good year plus if AEW could avoid trying to do anything larger than a trio. I know in a way they always got to make trios, especially since they got belts for them, but.
Yeah, and I don't want to say he outstayed his welcome. I'll just say he did his job because his job was to kind of get the company on the map, be that big name to lead them to get them started. and basically take a back seat eventually for the next set of people, next set of guys to move the company forward. But I think he did his job. I think a lot of the stuff he did over the last year or so has been cringe with the learning tree and being ROH champion twice. Did I get some laughs out of it? Absolutely. Like I love when he called himself the Ocho because I'm a big dodgeball fan, movie Mark. So I did think that was funny, but personally, I really think he overstayed his welcome. Not overstayed his welcome. I think he did his job when it comes to AEW. And I think it's time for him to move on because if he retires, he retires. He'll be one of the greatest of all time. But I do think he has a home and a place in WWE at this moment in time, especially because when it comes to Triple H and the way he books things, I don't want to say he overexposes. I think it's like a middle because sometimes he doesn't overexpose, but I also think he underexposes. But I think Jericho is somebody that you can actually underexpose because of who he is, and he can still be on TV every now and then. Like every now and then, you might see him once or twice a month, and you can do it that way. But I do think Jericho does have a space in WWE still.
So one thing that he gets crucified for, and again, was every angle he was involved with great? No, but I do think, like anything, it's like if you look at it, if he leaves, if in January, if we're saying hey, he's gone from Jericho, gone from AEW, and for 6 years he was there. He was the inaugural AEW champion. They acquire Ring of Honor. He wins that world title twice. He creates 3 factions. And whether a lot of these names got to pin him or not, they got to be on TV with a made guy, the biggest guy from the company or of the company, somebody, a household Attitude Era and beyond WWE name. But like the learning tree, he put guys like Big Keith, Big Cass, obviously with the Inner Circle, you got Santana, Ortiz, Sammy, Hager, Anna Jay. What the hell were the guys that were a tag team? They were in NXT. 2 guys slipping my name. One guy does commentary all the time. The other one I think is having a kid with Ruby Soho. Matt Menard and Danny Magic, the 2 of them. Garcia, Anna Jay. So right there's 10 names of people that rub shoulders with him. Outside of that, you get people like Bandito and Claudio who got to beat him for the Ring of Honor title. So this obviously beating a bona fide Hall of Famer. And then as odd as it is, he didn't need the rub per se. He already was a former WWE champion. But Moxley becoming the second AEW champion, a good rub of it's not like he beat Sammy Guevara to become the champion. It's not like he beat Wheeler Yuta. He beat Chris Jericho, with all his records and all his accolades. So all in all, Jericho did his job for AEW, and I definitely hope it's one of those things if he leaves, because it's obviously Cody kind of left similar where his contract was up and he just decided not to stay. But it seems like if Jericho's going to leave, I hope they acknowledge him still in the company, not kind of like a little promo here and there that like MJF or Sammy or Dustin will like give a nod. But I hope it'll always be like, oh, in 2030, such and such has just become the 15th world champion. Back to our history with Chris Jericho, something that should always be, recognized.
Yeah. I'm interested to see if Jericho does come back. We've got the Royal Rumble coming as well, so maybe always being a surprise entrance, always a card they can actually play. But I'm interested to see what's going to actually happen